Okay. Most respected principal, head of the department, learners, faculties of SNMB colleges, College of Arts and Science, my dear friends and my dear students. Very good morning to one and all present here. Today, I am going to share aquaculture techniques in India. This aquaculture techniques is nothing but aquaculture practices in India. India is very ancient country. It have ancient practices, history in aquaculture practices. Many ancient script uh, is evident of aquaculture techniques. So aquaculture is nothing but it's underwater agriculture. All of us know agriculture. Agriculture is an inevitable practice in human beings. So aquaculture is nothing but aquaculture is underwater agriculture, so rearing of aquatic organisms. The definition is aquaculture is a farming of aquatic plants and animals in controlled environment. This aquaculture practices not only rearing the fish and other animals, along with some microorganisms. The aquaculture consists of finfish and shellfish are grown in artificial container such as earth pond, cages, and concrete of fiberglass tanks. The cultured organisms is reproduced and offsprings raised in captivity. Do you hearable? It's audible? Can I continue? Learners, can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. That's why sometimes sort of communication gap is there, no? That's why
Yes,
I
sir.
know.
Yes,
Okay,
sir. No
okay.
problem.
The young organisms are stocked and a known density and feed the nutritional or any organic manure. It's a diet to minimize the growth rate. The water quality is monitored by maintained a healthy environment. So any culture or any rearing animals, you have to provide a particular environment, provide a concrete environment, the controlled environment. The controlled environment consists of physical parameter and also provide nutritious food. Okay, these aquaculture techniques are we have to provide uh, physical environment, water, sunlight. These are the parameters. The parameters maintained in optimum level, we can get more growth. The parameters may be fluctuated. The growth rate will be reduced. The water quality monitoring to maintain a healthy environment. So water is a mandatory or inevitable important factors in any aquaculture practices. So the water is one of the renewable resources. The water resources one of the important in country or continent. And India is one of the one of the country. It consists of plenty of freshwater resources. We have geographically India is situated in very good manner. So the temperature and other sunlight and pressure, water quality, everything is very good, ideal or optimum temperature in India. India is a very highly potential country to rear any kind of aquatic organisms. This aquaculture include culture of fish, crustacean. Fish consist of carp and other mullet, catfish. This is called a fish. Crustacean, crab is one of the crustacean form. Molluscan, oyster and pearls or kind of consist of mollusk, etc. These kind of organisms under the aquaculture. So the aquaculture, there are different types. First one, the freshwater and cold water, marine water. So freshwater is edible water. The water is inland water. Freshwater is nothing but low salinity. Low salinity or is containing less salinity. Cold water is temperature, based on the temperature, the water quality is classified in two categories. One is cold water and optimum water, that are the fresh water. And based on the salinity, we have to classify it in three types. One is fresh water, brackish water, and marine water. Fresh water is low salinity, that is edible inland water. Brackish water is nothing but the combination of marine water and fresh water. That's called a lagoon. You know, lagoon is situated in the marine, is a mouth of marine, the between river and ocean. The meeting place of river and ocean is called estuary. This estuary consists of brackish water. Brackish water resources is very important. It contains more kind of fishes, and fishes is more biomass, big size fishes available only in brackish water. Especially crab, shrimps are also available in brackish water. Now we have to discuss fresh water and cold water. On and the brackish water, cultivation of sea paws, mullet, and shrimps. On the basis of management. Okay, this is water resources. Based on the water resources, the aquaculture is classified in different categories. Then, based on the management, the rearing practices, rearing or practices. The first one is extensive, second one semi-intensive, third one intensive. The extensive is nothing but we have to culture low density of seeds. Seeds is nothing but young ones. Whatever you have to culture, whatever you have to introduce to culture, this is called seed. That is seed. The low density seed is called extensive aquaculture. The number of example, a pond containing 1,000 seeds, it is extensive. Suppose you have to culture in more number, is intensive. The extensive is low density of aquaculture practices is called low density extensive aquaculture system. Semi-intensive. Semi-intensive. Sometimes we have to use it as, some parameters in controlled conditions. The low density, not a low density, not the high density. The seeds is a medium concentration. Then parameters are also controlled correctly. This is called semi-intensive. Then intensive is all the parameters are controlled by not deviated in natural way. Everything pH, temperature, salinity, and dissolved oxygen. So these parameters are controlled in automated manner. Another one, cold water aquaculture. Yeah, cold water is yes, cultivable fish species are trout. Trout is a cold water aquaculture. Cold water, rainbow trout. That brown trout and rainbow trout is, there are two species, and Indian trout is there. Magashir, common carp, included mirror carps among Cyprinidae. Cyprinidae families are able to rear in cold water aquaculture. Modern trout farms in India is mostly available in Himachal Pradesh trout farms. Jammu and Kashmir also there. The potential culture species have gained importance due to excellent food value, delicious taste, better meat quality, and customers' preference. What we culture, what is important to rear the fish? Fish are naturally available in ocean. Plenty of resources available in ocean. So why we culture? What's the reason? So fish meat is all over like. It is easily digestible, delicious. Then even the patient also take. Then low fat content, high protein, low fat content, high protein. Apart from this, all amino acids are available in the fish meat. So this is a common ways the government gives some subsidy to cultivate fishes. They will provide so many subsidies to rear the aquatic organisms. Okay. Another one in India. India is protein and the food, and the children have malnutrition because of low content of protein. Because of low content of protein meat. So this Indian government takes some steps to provide or initiate hi-fi technology to the farmer, to allow them, to encourage them to rear aquatic organisms. These are the things. Then water resources. I already said India is a potential country. We have plenty of water resources. The water is ideal for the water parameters are ideal for freshwater or marine water aquaculture. And another one, India is a subtropical country. We have three sides of oceans, and groundwater facilities also there. In the Indian pond and tanks is 2.25 million in hectare. Fields and direct waters 1.3 million hectare lakes and reservoirs. 2.9 million hectare irrigation canals and channels. 0.12 kilometer paddy field. So paddy also, some of the variety of paddy involved in the integrated paddy cum fish farming. Considering the above of water area, pond and tanks only 45 percentage of utilized source in potential area, potential horizontal expansion, because many water resources in India is not practiced in aquaculture because of some rock and some barriers is there. Fish production. Freshwater aquaculture account of 70% of total inland fish production. So inland embeda is there is many fish culture or fish production agencies there. Government and non-government agencies are involved in to promote aquaculture. Both Indian and exotic carp contribute over of 90% of total freshwater aquaculture production. Freshwater aquaculture is account of 70 percentage total inland fisheries. So 30 percentage only catch fish, the marine source fish. Both Indian and exotic. What is Indian and exotic fish? Indian fishes are Indian major crops: Katla, Rogu, Mirgal. These are Indian major crops. IMC simply says IMC. Apart from Indian major crops, we have to import from China. Import from China. That is called exotic crops. The imported crops, otherwise called exotic crops, contributing 90% of total freshwater aquaculture production. Since there is this FFTA, Freshwater Protection Development Agency, freshwater fish production development agencies, enhancing the average production from 500 to about 20,000 kilo hectare per year. However, the potential of technology is 15 tons in hectare per year. The fish production range under different culture system. Okay, the composite fish culture. What is the composite fish culture? A pond containing many kind of species, cultured in many species, more than katla, rogu, mirgal, potla, common crops. So we have to composite collectively culture in say a pond is called composite fish culture. So this composite fish culture having some meritorial characters, some merits, because we have to collect different kind of species. Some of the species only living in the some columns, because the pond contains three columns: surface, common, bottom. Column and bottom. There are three layers of any aquaculture pond. Pond has lakes, so on. Some species are characterized to live the surface of the water body. Example, katla. Katla is a surface feeder. They most of the time they spend only the surface of the aquaculture pond. Then mirgal also bottom feeder. They ability to live in the bottom of the pond. Rogu is there. Rogu is a common feeder, column feeder. Column is middle layer, column feeder. So these categories is easily identified, this characteristic of the corp, because the you see the Katla mouth system is a superior mouth system. The mouth easily take the food for phytoplankton or food from the surface of the water column. These are the general characteristic features of different kind of species. So how do you identify the uh, male and female of the corpse? Many people, so many of them are interested to buy and take and fish. They didn't know the male sex of the carp. So carp is very difficult to identifying male and female because many some of the species are the abdomen is bulge. Many people are say the fish have abdomen is big size. They shows is a uh, female. Yeah, it's okay. 80 to 90 percentage of species it thinks is okay, but in carp we have to allow to swim the water column. Then only you have to identify whether the male or female. So this is tricky. So the clockwise they rotate the fins is called a male. Anti-clockwise they rotate the female. This is a general the thoughts to identify the sex of the coth. Another one, intensive culture. I already said incentive is more care. We have to give more care for that kind of aquaculture system. So intensive aquaculture. And then clarius culture. Clarius is nothing but a catfish culture. Nowadays, teli mean, teli, like that's the catfish. Catfish is a very cultured in very low water quantity, even derbit water quality in a low space, very small bond also we have to culture in catfish. Sewage fit fish. Sewage. Nowadays, our countries most of the sewage. So some of the Campibia fish also, cultured. Most of the sewage fish, fit fish are eco-friendly. Control the mosquito larvae likewise. Another one, integrated fish. I already said integrated fish is nowadays very important. They have multiple income. Don't waste that duration. Mostly for paddy come fish, then poultry come fish, pig come fish culture. So these are practiced. This average protection rates is a compost culture is and intensive culture farming contributes more. Then another one, pen culture. Pen culture, you have fencing the big lake or oceans. Cage culture, you have to steel cage are involved to a large water column or larger water bodies. Introduced seeds only inside the cage, so allow them to grow. After marketable size, we have to take it out. Then running water fish. So running water is river culture. So running water is like streams or rivers or that's called running water fish culture. Stream farming, yeah, another one important yeah, Indian foreign currencies. So that is foreign exchanges is very important contribution in stream farming. Marine stream farming. This called as Pineus monodon, dagger streams. That is culture is called stream farming. Then aquatic weeds based. Weed is mollies and some fungi, so integrated with this farming. There's no need to provide the feed. So that's called aquatic weed farming. Biogas slurry based, magna hair breathing fish. So these kind of culture systems are available. So average productions also listed. Then this slide shows the culture of Indian major crafts. IMC, Indian major crops. So Indian major crops is potential resources, potential culture practices in Indian peoples. The management and nursery bond. So any culture practices, any fish aquatic culture practices consist of three important aspects. One is pond construction, pond preparations, and pond management. So these are the very important. Pond may be either existing one or a newly constructed pond preparation. So pond construction is very important. Before pond construction, you have to find out the soil quality and water facilities. Soil, most of the clay soil is important. Pond construction, before going to pond construction, you have to test the soil, whether the soil is how much amount of clay content is there. Suppose the clay content is more, the water porosity is reduced. Most of the sand based soil is not fit for aquaculture, because the porosity and the seepage of the water is more. Suppose any water aquaculture system, the seepage is more, the algal bloom is reduced, the phytoplankton production is reduced. That kind of phytoplankton growth is less or reduced. The primary producer is entirely collapsed. The ecological balance, the ecosystem affect, the growth also ultimately affected. The shape of the bond may be rectangular. Why we have to make the shape of the bond is rectangular? So rectangular shape of the bond have more space to uptake the oxygen, atmospheric oxygen. So most of the aquaculture pond in a rectangular space. The size of the pond should be in 0.03 to zero point 0.5 hectare. The size also, very big size is preferable for aquaculture. With water depth is 1 to 1.5 meter, it is enough. It is necessary to expose bottom to the sunlight for better mineralization, escape of toxic gases, and to keep free from aquatic insects, aquatic weeds, predatory fish. Yeah, this is sunlight. Sunlight is one of the important energy. So provides solar energy converted into bioenergy by the help of phytoplankton. So with sunlight, entire pond will be exposed to the sunlight. So we have, then only all the ecological systems are in a normal. Then the sunlights also escape the toxic gases. Most of the ammonia gases in the bottom of the bond. So sunlight is also provide to removal of toxic gases, and remove, and another one, aquatic insects. In aquatic insect is very important factors for considering the aquaculture practices, because most of the young ones are eaten by these aquatic insects. The steps the steps to pre-stocking. Pre-stocking means before going to stock the seeds, young ones, fingerlings. What are the things you have to keep? First, eradication of aquatic weeds. Weeds is unwanted one. Removal of unwanted fish. Another one of the weed is called unwanted fish. Another one of the weed is called unwanted fish. So application of lime, fertilization, control of aquatic insects, eradication of weeds. So how do you eradicate the weeds? Some chemical and manual method is there. Mechanical method or manual method is there. Eradication of aquatic weeds and removal of unwanted fish. Aquatic weeds. It is defined as unwanted and undesirable vegetation that grow in waters, and if unchecked causes serious problem in fish. Series of problem in fish culture. Based on the habit, classified into floating, submerged, emergent marginal, filamentous, and algal blooms. So aquatic, the phytoplankton is very important for primary production. Even it's more production, or some of the macrophytic algae, floating algae, are dangerous, because these algae during the night time, they uptake entire oxygen from the aquatic source. Ultimately, the dissolved oxygen level during the night time, especially for early morning, is very tricky. is very reduced. There is sometimes very less in dissolved oxygen. What happened? The aquatic animals are move towards the bottom, move towards the surface. They take they breathe the atmospheric oxygen. The predators or birds and other humans are taking the take out this fish. So it's happening in 1 or 2 days. For 2 3 days, the entire aquaculture is collapsed. Most of the fish are die due to breathing problem. This is called eutrophication. You know, eutrophication, bloom of algae leads to eutrophication. Okay, floating weeds. These weeds are some macrophytic weeds, floating weeds, submerged weeds, emergent weeds. There are three different kind of weeds is there. Floating weeds is floating. It will accumulate one part based on the wind. So the tide also move towards to one end. So what happened that areas and their aquatic organisms are die due to breathing problem. Marginal weeds, filamentous weeds. Then disadvantages of aquatic weeds. Interference in culture activities. Interference, they make as a disturbance. In netting, we have to culture the marketable fish. It is difficult to catch the fish. The weeds come along with the nets. A decrease in DO, dissolved oxygen level. So already said during the night time, all algae uptake the dissolved oxygen from the aquaculture pond. Ultimately leads to low the level of dissolved oxygen reduced during the early morning. So leads to breathing respiratory problem occur in the aquatic organisms. Then restrict space for movement of fish. Suppose the fish move very without any disturbance. This weeds also disturbed, and another one is disturbed and easy to catch the predators. Okay, another one utilize nutrients. Utilize, yeah, and another one, the algae uptake the nitrogen, and another menus. Interference in netting operation, already said. Restrict light penetration, another one important. Light is one of the important parameters for aquaculture practices. So the light penetrated some amount of the water column in aquaculture pond. So the light penetration is reduced. The ecological balance of aquaculture systems occurs. Release toxic gases. It's ultimately release toxic gases. The bottom will be accumulated organic load. Strategies for development. A balanced biomass of submerged vegetation and algae is required for ecosystem for composite fish culture, but excessive infestation is harmful. I already said. So that is a vegetation is very important for primary production. So algae is very important, mandatory for maintaining algal plume in aquaculture system. Without algal plume, we not introduce seeds. We have to wait until developing for algae. Whenever algae developing in the aquaculture, then only we have to introduce the seeds. So the transparent water we can't to introduce the seeds, because without algae, very clean water we have to introduce seeds. What happened? The sunlight easily penetrate the seeds. Seed did not get any penetration from sunlight penetration. It is create some disease. So the algae very important. It provide a primary producer for the ecology. The primary algae, there are first one phytoplankton, zooplankton, and microalgae. So these are very important for aquaculture ecosystem. Control of aquatic weeds. Generally, the method is selected based on the dimension of weeds, infestations, size of the pond, and the time available. So physical method is there. You know very well. So how to removal of algae or excessive growth of vegetation. So we have to remove mechanical method or various tools, sickles or blades, wire mesh, hooks, wooden sticks are also used to remove. And biological method is there. Biological method is very important. We have a special fish. Suppose algae vegetation is more, we have to introduce grass carp. Grass carp is one kind of carp. So this grass carp eat more than 6 times of their body weight. They take only vegetation. So like um, uh, very moraceous feeder, very moraceous feeder. They eat more grasses, algae, and up to the body weight more than 6 times they take. Example, this the grass cup 1 kg, they take 6 kg per day. Then the chemical methods. Another one chemical method is we have a chemical method. Marginal and emergent weed sprays is there. The glycophosphate and then 2,4-D is there. These are a very effective method to spray the aquaculture bond, reduce the algal blooms or algae vegetation, high vegetations. Culture of shellfish of India. The kind river prawn, another one is shellfish. That's called Macroprangium rosenbergi, freshwater prawn. That's called a freshwater prawn. It is the largest among freshwater prawn, found in all river of east and west coast of India and the coastal areas throughout Bay of Bengal. It has a long sword-shaped rostrum. They have a rostrum very fine. It is you. It is very important. They fight, and also it is also involved in the feeding with equal number. The teeth, that's like a very strong and horny apparatus. All the parts are appendages for a lower leg edge. It is a pentobagic omnivorous, where there is also moraceous feeder. They mostly they live in bottom of the water column. It migrate to the estuaries during breeding season. If you want to breed, it migrate into estuary. Estuary already said. Estuary is nothing but it is a place between ocean and a river, the mouth of ocean and a river. Another monsoon and a river prawn, that's Macrobranchium malcolmsoni. This kind of prawn is available most of the areas. Most of the areas, even in Tamil Nadu, also available. It is many of them unknown to this, but it is available. You keenly watch any aquatic pond, it is available. It is monsoon river. Then this is the right time to check it this in your water column. It is found in all peninsular river of India. The second chili pets of a female are much larger and shorter than the body. So how this is a second chili pets is longer. In female, we have to find out how to find out the sex, either male or female. Female have more very longer chilies. Chilies is small legs. Yeah, it is also migrate in estuary during breeding season. uh, Season, and this another one, this freshwater fish brown culture available in Muthupettai and the near Tanjavur, Thiruvarur also there. But the estuarine prawn is different from this freshwater prawn. Mostly the estuarine prawn or marine streams or macro uh, tiger prawn. Tiger prawn only is Penaeus monodon. Penaeus monodon is a tiger prawn. It is cultured only in the marine water. It's not only a high salinity. It will allow to grow 25 ppt. 25 ppt. Ppt is parts per thousand. The salinity range. Freshwater aquaculture. Yeah, this is a freshwater aquaculture system. The seed production and grow of gained freshwater prawn. This is a farm raised. This is a farm raised in scampi. This is called a scampi culture. Freshwater prawn. Yeah, the prawn catchery. Prawn catchery. You know how to catch get the seeds from prawn. Yeah, prawn is a very different animal, different kind of animal. They breed only for darkened period. Darken mean, you know, amavasai, most of the amavasai. So sometimes artificially we want to incubate, or you want to allow to breed. What we'll do, we have to cut it the ice spot. They cut it the ice spot. The brown thing, uh, brown thing, it is a dark, so they lay the eggs. So this is a way, this is a techniques used to rear the seeds, that produce the seeds. These prawn catchery, freshwater prawn catcheries are available in and around Pondicherry. Water quality management in aquaculture system. You know, aquaculture system very important resources is water. Without water we can't do in aquaculture systems. It's a very mandatory. The basic requirement of fish culture offer a favorable environment for growth, respiration, with dissolved oxygen, DO, and get it food suspended in water. So this is a basic requirement. We have to maintain the basic parameters then and there. Fish culture is influenced by various physical, chemical, biological properties. Temperature, you know, already said temperature. We have a temperature. Our India is very important. Geographically, is situated in ideal place. Temperature. We are temperature country. So the temperature country is ideal for culturing carp. The fish can pursue a small change less than zero point 0.1 degree to IMC. There will be 1838 centigrade. 18 to 38 centigrade is ideal. It's a maximum temperature. Enough. Is optimum temperature is 25 to 30. 25 to 30, 35 is ideal. So carp for rear in an Tamil Nadu temperature is ideal. Indirect, another one, pH, pressure of hydrogen ion concentration. pH is a very important parameters. pH 7 is ideal. That is nominal, not base, not acid. So above 7 is alkaline, below 7 is acidic. Most of the up to these carbs are capacity or adapt the pH up to 9. Yeah, I also I'm an entrepreneur of aquaculture. I also running aquaculture pond in my native. Another one important the pH also very problematic. Even in agriculture, most of the crops not it is affected by because of high pH. So I have to switch out to agriculture to aquaculture. Now is getting more profit in compared to agriculture. So this is pH is very important. Even all varieties of crops is standing more than 9.5. But optimum pH is 7 to 7. This is Indian 7 to 8.6 is ideal for pH. Then dissolved oxygen, most important. There is dissolved oxygen also very important. Suppose a dissolved oxygen the very less, what happen? We have to introduce. There are two methods. One is manual method. We have to improve the dissolved oxygen, increase the dissolved oxygen level. So manual method means we have to allow to. So some people are duck is, is there. Introduce the duck. The duck flow using. The wings are floating the water bodies. They increase the dissolved oxygen level. And another method is also human beings are going to floating the water up and down. It is increasing the dissolved oxygen level. Another chemical method also is there, potassium permanganate. You have to introduce the potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate so improve the dissolved oxygen level instantly. So this is very these things, suppose the parameters few minutes or few hours differ, no change, so it not affect prolong. This is a small duration is not affect. Then different types of aquaculture. Already said, no, is semi-intensive aquaculture, intensive aquaculture, extensive aquaculture, traditional aquaculture. So extensive aquaculture is a low-cost technology. Semi-intensive aquaculture, have to monitor it a little bit. Occasionally, we have to maintain the parameters. Intensive is a very effective method. Traditional aquaculture is not maintaining the parameters, but they naturally allow to rear. This intensive aquaculture is a flow through method, raceway, recirculating method is there. Flow through method means the water is running. Recirculating method means the water we have to reuse. Traditional method of pond culture. Yeah, this is a ancient techniques, a very traditional method. The common method of fish culture. Most of the public pond and public lakes are cultured this kind of practice. Many villages having unique lakes or pond for common purposes. So these pond are reared in some kind of peoples are getting a contract from 1 year. They allow to rear this cockroach system. Water is maintained in closed areas, but artificial construction or take means the bank. Uh, Pond are very small and shallow bodies of quiet standing water with slight wind actions. Management practice, pond preparation. So pond preparation, there are various aspects in pond preparation which should be carried out before pond is used to culture of first time or for subsequent crops. So first you have to think we have to culture in throughout the year. So accordingly you have to prepare the pond. The main objective of pond preparation are providing fish with a clean pond base or appropriate stable water quality. Stable, we have to allow the water in a stagnant place. Cleaning. During fish production, cycle considerable quantity of organic waste accumulated in pond bottom depending upon the culture practices followed. It is waste must be removed to ensure sustained fish production from the pond. There are two methods. First, the cleaning of bottom. So in the bottom is very important. You have to construct before construction. You have to think about your bottom of the pond. The most of the organic load accumulated the bottom of the pond periodically. So accumulated the quantity of numbers on the biomass is increased. The bottom also increase the organic waste, that is organic waste. The organic waste you have to remove. In case of freshwater fish culture, it is not harmful. It's not harmful, but in brown culture, stream culture, it is very serious problem. So how to eradicate this kind of problem? You have to provide a option to wash out the bottom. We give a outlet. We give the outlet. You made a construction in outlet to wash out the bottom of the water. So whenever reduce the water is give outlet, the only allow to flow out in the bottom of the water, not in the surface water. That is things you have to identify or construct before bond preparation. Then another method is a dry method. Is after culturing, you allow them to dry. So sunlight is remove all the organic waste. Then you during the culture period, what do? You have to provide a lime. Lime reduce the organic waste. Then wet method, where it is a method after the final harvesting, accumulate organic matter at the bottom, at the pond bottom. It is flushed out in form of thin slurry using heavy dirty pump. Liming advantages. It is correct acidity of water. It help to rise bicarbonate content. It supplies calcium for grow a freshwater flora, mollusca, and crustaceans. It helps us to establish pH buffer system, and it utilizes the action of sodium, magnesium, and due to the toxic and gases property, it helps to kill harmful bacteria. It utilizes the sodium, magnesium is also important factor materials to remove the toxic organisms like bacteria, and promote the promote the probiotics. Pond fertilization. So okay, for now we construct the pond. Some before construction, what do? You have to allow thing proper proper outlet, and another rectangular pond is very important. Then pond fertilization. The main objective adding fertilizer is fish pond is maintaining the sustained production of natural fish organism during entire culture period. So pond fertilization is very important. Any culture in agriculture or whatever, the fertilization very important. The fertilizer very important. Fertilizer may be a chemical or organic. The fertilizer, so naturally you allow them to grow. We have to allow them some microorganism increase the flume of the water body. So also provide the food. Then organic fertilizer, inorganic fertilizer. What is organic fertilizer? So cow dung is organic fertilizer, commonly in a farmer used for manure. That is called organic fertilizer. Inorganic fertilizers are some chemical fertilizers. Fertilization. The purpose is to promote the grow and development of correct size and species of zooplankton. Instantly not grow the zooplankton. First, you have to grow the phytoplanktons. If the water body is more phytoplankton, simultaneously zooplanktons are evolved. Zooplankton eaten by phytoplankton. This, all of us know about the ecosystem, ecological balance, food chain, population trends. There, yeah, these are zooplanktons, rotifers, cladocrans, and cibaponds, cibaponds. So it is very small. Rotifer is very small. Then these are the size versa the slide zones. Organic fertilizer. Plant and animal materials. Zooplankton feed on organic or the bacteria. Prozoa feeding on organics. Long-term applications. Selection criteria. So plant and animal material. Organic fertilizer is very important. It is naturally allow them to grow planktons. This organic fertilizer is very important because of its a long-term application. Once you have to utilize the fertilizer, example cow dung, the cow dung give the potential and the viability is long lasting. It will prolong it long lasting or prolonged. It will not toxic. The eco friendly. Then this organic fertilizers are low carbon. So whatever you have fertilizer, the utilize in aquaculture or plan to utilize in aquaculture, you have to think low carbon nitrogen ratio, low carbon and nitrogen ratio. Fine particle size. The fertilizer should be in fine particle size. It should be readily available and economically and easily dissolved, dissolvable. Fertilizer application. Fertilizers, chemical fertilizer, that is called inorganic fertilizers. Liquid mixed with the wash and mixed 10 into 1 spray. Most of the liquid, whatever fertilizer in form of liquid, it is very good, but you have to mix it with 10 is to 1 ratio. Then you have to spray. Then powder, mostly soluble. The powder should be soluble in the water. Granular, fairly insoluble, and placed into a shallow platform 1 feet below pond surfaces. Organic fertilizer. Apply fertilizer completely around the bond edges. Organic fertilizer you have to allow the edge of the bond. Frequent application is mandatory. Inorganic fertilizers. A limiting factor is freshwater system is often phosphorus. Suppose the inorganic fertilizer is effect, quick effect. So you have to allow gradually. So suppose you have to give more, it is very dangerous. It late summer or nitrogen maybe timing is also very important. Late summer nitrogen may be limiting. It's a very the warm period. Also the nitrogen fertilizer you have to reduce. Fast acting selecting criteria: adequate phosphorus and nitrogen. Adequate phosphorus and nitrogen very important and should be economical and easy for application. This is already said. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. These are very, this combination is important and mandatory for inorganic fertilizer. Zooplankton monitoring. How do you find out the water body containing zooplankton? So we have a special net, plankton net is there. So collect the zooplankton through netting. Plankton netting is there. Plankton is a simple techniques. Indian peoples are very ideal. They create its own Indian techniques. So using a bottle along with net, they prepare the plankton net. So this used for um, counting of phytoplankton and zooplankton. And also we have to use our hands. So we have to use your hands consist of some lines, no. So you have to allow them the water body and have to merge it with water. So disappearance of the lines and the lines ரேகை சொல்லுவோம். கையில் இருக்க ரேகை மறைகிற வரைக்கும் என்ன பண்ணணும், நமக்கு வாட்டர் பாடியில் விட லோ பண்ணணும். அப்படி பண்ணும்போது டிஸப்பியரன்ஸ் ஆஃப் அந்த லைன்ஸ் இஸ் ஆல்சோ ஷோஸ் தட் தி கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன் ஆஃப் zooplankton. The inorganic fertilizer. These are the simple inorganic compound which primarily containing at least one or more elements. As already so said, NPK very important. Nitrogen fertilizer, urea, super potash, muriatus potash, ammonia. So these are the very important nitrogen based fertilizers. Phosphorus, super phosphate is very mandatory for get a very good aquaculture growth. Advantages and apply of inorganic fertilizers. Advantages of applying inorganic fertilizers. Why we have to generally organic fertilizer very important, so eco-friendly. What's the reason you have to introduce the inorganic fertilizers? Yeah, inorganic fertilizer is exact composition of inorganic fertilizers. This is containing NPK. Mineralization is very fast. What is a mineralization? So a larger compound converted into smaller component. So simply say it's a larger compound converted into smaller compound. Example, a leaf is there, a plant leaf containing protein, all organic and inorganic oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, everything is there. So after fall down the tree, the leaf converted the leaf allowed to decay with the help of bacteria or fungi. They allow to decay. This is called mineralization process. The bacteria converted into boost or introduce mineralization is a fast growing. They allow to fast growing. Lack of pollution. So the inorganic pollution is a lack of debris solid waste pollution. That is no BOD, biological action demand. BOD is very important. So suppose BOD is increase, the problem water quality is debit. Used in small quantity and applied as additive manure, hence convenient for utilization. This is also very important factors. Then nutrition profile of common manures. These are how much amount we utilize: nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. So cow dung, raw cow dung. So cow dung is you have to utilize periodically, not one time. So periodically, whenever available, you have to provide the pond periodically according to this ratio. Nutrient status of different type of soil bond. So high, so example, the high pH, the soil have a alkaline soil. Alkaline soil you have to utilize more nitrogen fertilizer. Suppose a soil low acidic soil, acidic soil no need to give more nitrogen. So this contains high, medium, low. So how much we have to raw cow dung, urea, ammonia. So these are the manure we have to utilize for aquaculture practices. Cow dung, urea, ammonium sulfate, calcium, ammonium nitrate, muriated potash also used. Aquatic insects and their control. So another one problematic one is weeds. Weeds controlled by many techniques. We have to biological techniques there, and another one chemical techniques is there. So most of the biological techniques we have to control some other birds or other insect feeding animals. So 4% of total insect fauna which is existing in world. Most of the seeds, aquatic young ones, fingerlings are eaten by aquatic insects, either in their adult or larvae stages, prey directly on the carp spawn, or injured in young one by sucking body fluids, or indirectly competing for food with the carp spawn. Therefore, pond culture technique include the control and the removal of harmful aquatic insects, such as eradication of harmful insect from pond, play a very important role in increasing prey surveillance rate. Suppose the prey survive, they grow considerable size, they escape from the insect. So insect could not catch. These are the things, some of the important insects are shown in the slides. So these are the important slides, important insects. Dragonfly also very important. It's eat very aggressively feed on the carp young ones. So control, how do you control this type of insects? Simple way of controlling is by netting. By complete removal is not possible by netting. So now complete eradication is problematic, because the insects are insect is only species in the world is a high number, and bloom very quickly is bloom or increase the number. So in simply says, yeah, a day all birds are getting fasting, the entire world covered by insects. That is a theory, that is a thoughts. So that is the frequency of insects is very high. So we control these insects by netting is not at all advisable, but we have to control minimize application of oil soap emulsion. This is very important. So instantly you have to remove oil soap emulsion is affect the respiration of um, insects. Extensive fish farming system. So extensive fish farming systems are least managed from farmer. Large pond ranging from, already said, the extensive don't take care of aquaculture. They didn't know the aquaculture practices. So the person didn't know the aquaculture system is called the extensive fish farming system. They don't know any biological method, biological techniques in aquaculture. So that's called extensive. Extensive don't take care of any parameters, aquaculture parameters. Growth is limited by available food. So in this extensive fish farming systems, growth is limited by available food. So there is no considerable amount of zooplankton and other feeding. So what happened? The production of the yield of aquaculture is very less. So one hectare, one acre aquaculture pond, you have to introduce 2,500 young ones in normal. If you in a intensive aquaculture farm, you have to introduce 5,000 young ones. In extensive, you have to give 1,000 young ones. What is yield? What is the output of this aquaculture? So those who are introduced in 5,000 in intensive aquaculture farm getting more yield. That is a phenomena. Tilapia filter feed directly to phytoplankton, which makes high production possible. So in the extensive fish farming, another one problem, the weed fish also involved. That is another one problem. Semi-intensive fish farming system involved a rather small bond. The bond size is below 1 hectare. Natural food develops, but fertilization and so this is optimum. We have to maintain sometimes. The people for working in some they interest in some other business. They come and visit weekly or monthly once. This is called a semi-intensive fish farming system. That is intensive. Intensive is produce a high yield. We other sides also, we have expenses also high. We give electricity, we give boating system, we give artificial feed, we provide artificial feed pellet feed. We have to introduce this system. Involves small bond, race ways with very high stock density, 10 to 5 fish per meter square. Flow through method, the raceway, the running water. Raceway culture is defined as a raising a fish in a running water. So this the learner type of cities. This is a way how to construct the running water. This is inlet. The running water is main track is there. Along with main track, the linear type is there. So inlet and outlet is there. So the water periodically come and go. Inlet and outlet come inside by inlet, going out to outlet. Lateral types, pond laid out in parallel. In this type, the volume of water entering each pond is smaller, but a fresh supply of water is always ensured, and no transfer of disease from one pond to another pond. So this is one type, because we have to get into water source from inlet, in the excess water going to outlet. Another one, suppose any disease and spread the water, it is also reduced. The flow throat hatchery for red tilapia. This is a red tilapia culture, flow through waters. Waters are periodically outletted and then purified and reused. Recirculating aquaculture system. So some of water is a renewable resource, but we have to not exhaust. So limited renewable resource. Water is a limited renewable resource. So plenty of water you don't waste. So we have to that this aquaculture techniques reused or recirculating water by RAS system. So this is as a layout, the structure of model. Make up the exhaust water again filter and reused. Biofiltration, solid removed, flushed and oxygenated. So the water is enriched with oxygen. pH control, everything. pH control. Suppose you have a source of land. You have a plan to allow the culture of fish. So but the soil pH is more. What happened? No problem. You have to introduce lime. So lime and agri lime is there. So agri lime is gypsum is there. So these things are gypsum. You have to introduce a gypsum, agri lime, gypsum. Increase, utilize the water body. What happened? Reduce the pH. Okay, pH is more less than 7. What happened? You have to add lime. Lime suddenly increase the pH. So pH, we manually we have to alterate the pH in entire water body. Don't it's not a problem. Advantages: reduced water requirement as compared to raceway pond aquaculture. So in this raceway water requirement, the minimized water only we have to use. Reduce land needs. So we have to low space also enough. Site selection flexibility, reduction in water wastewater effluent volumes, ability to closely monitor and control environment condition to minimize the production efficiency. Similarly, independence from weather and variable environmental conditions. Another disadvantage is also there. The high upfront investment, operating investment, and before construction, we have to spend more amount. High operating cost, most due to electricity and system maintenance. Every water quality and salinity monitored by automatically monitored by some wire connected with the computer system. So water body is directly monitored by system, automated. A need for high trained staff to monitor and operating the system. It is very difficult to run this. Thank you. First of all, I thank the principal, Dr. P. Subramanian, providing this chance to share my thoughts in today. I'm very proud of the principal. Sir, I have experience in past 13 years in self-financing colleges. I'm proud to say in this COVID-19 pandemic situation, your institution is more vibrant, it's very active. Thank you, sir. And I would like to thank um, Pakiraj, head of the department, is my student, is always vibrant. Thank you, Pakiraj. And finally, they're going to propose the vote of thanks, Dr. Sarmila. So also thank you all learners. Learners, any clarification, please?